Okay, we're going to start with notes from 1D from Unit 7 on right triangles. So this lesson is about two different types of what they call special right angles, right triangles, because there's a pattern or a consistent number system that works all the time for a triangle that is considered a 45, 45, 90, or a triangle that is 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees. So let's start here with the 45, 45. On this one, both angles are 45. They're equal to each other. And that means that these two sides, the two legs, are also going to be equal to each other. So if the legs are equal to each other, we're going to label those X. Okay, the special formula is that the hypotenuse then is always going to be that leg times the square root of 2. So the hypotenuse is always going to be whatever x is, the leg, times the square root of 2. Also note, which we just mentioned before, that the two legs will always be the same. So if I know one of them, I will know the other. So using this formula here, these formulas, let's take a look at what we have in number 1 here. So I've got a leg and hypotenuse. And if you want, you can, again, identify the hypotenuse. The legs, one of the legs is 8. So that means the other leg, in this case x, is also going to be 8. The formula up here above is hypotenuse equals x square root of 2. Now we want to be a little bit careful with the x, because when I start putting y's and a's and b's in here, we just want to be careful. So sometimes I'll write this one as hypotenuse equals the leg square root of 2. That's what x is anyway, but this is just another way to kind of write that. So I know that this side is 8, and I'm trying to find this hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is going to equal the leg square root of 2. So y is going to equal 8 square root of 2. Done. Just a little equation. Some of you can do that in your head. Some of you will need to write it out. Over here, I've got 25 on a leg. The other leg is y, so that's also going to be 25. So y will be 25 here. The hypotenuse equals the leg square root of 2. So that is x. It's going to equal the leg. That value is 25 square root of 2. Now when we get to this one, x and y are the same. So I can go hypotenuse equals leg square root of 2. Now I can use x or y. They're both going to be the same. So 19 equals x square root of 2. To get x by itself, I have to divide by square root of 2. Now here's where it gets just a little tricky. This is dividing by a square root, which to simplify it is not legal to leave it as a square root on the denominator. Okay, so what we can do is we can take that value, I just copied it from here, and that converts to 19 square root of 2 over 2. So I just bring this square root up here. This becomes just a plain old 2. That's more of a simplified answer. I know that seems kind of weird that that's simplified, but that is the value of x. And that is the value of y, because they are both the same. Okay, so let's just take a real quick look at this again. If I have, let's say, 7 over square root of 2. Okay, I can go mathematically, and I will end up with 7 square root of 2 over 2. So I'm just going to bring this up and take off the square root, and that's my simplified answer of this. All right, so I'm just going to do that every time. If I have 11 square root of 2, well, let's make that an even. Let's do 10 square root of 2. So I'd have 10 square root of 2 over 2. Right, we're just bringing that up. And I could do the same thing if this was square root of 3. I would just bring up a square root of 3, and I'd have 3 on the bottom. Now when I simplify something like this, I can simplify a number and a number, or a square root and a square root. So because I have a 10 and a 2, they can simplify to 5 square root of 2. So this would simplify to that. Okay, let's stop there on the 45, and then we'll hit the 30/60 next.